Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Board of County Commission meeting for Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. I'd like to welcome everybody here to our meeting. We'll begin our meeting with the invocation given by Mr. Clay Davis, and then the pledge led by Commissioner Adams-Ack. Please stand if you're able.
Our most kind and gracious Father in heaven, as we assemble here this morning for this board meeting, we pray that thy Spirit will be with us, that as this board considers the needs of this community, that they will be able to make the decisions that are pleasing unto thee. We pray for those who are in attendance, that there will be respect here this morning, that we will show love one for another. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Adams-Ack, and thank you, Clay Davis, at such a short notice there. So thank you so much. Gentlemen, our next item of business is approval of the minutes of the January 11th, 22 Board of County Commissioners regular meeting and Board of County Commissioners regular workshop.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval that we approve January 11th Board of County Commissioner regular meeting and January 11th Board of County Commissioner regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, we got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey and a proper second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, I was trying to go a little longer because we still have one more minute to go. Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, we have
I'd
a
like
couple
to-
of items that we need to add to the agenda, so
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we include the two items that have been item M on our consent agenda and under County Administrator comments, item A to our agenda.
Second.
we've got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey to add these items and a proper second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Items have been added, let the record reflect. Okay, we'll move into our 905 certain, which is the Port Authority. So I'll recess the Board of County Commission meeting and convene the Port Authority meeting. Approval, the first item of business is A, approval of the January 11th
Move
Port
approval,
Authority.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, got a proper motion, got a proper second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion?
Are y'all hearing that, or is it my new hearing?
No, it's Commissioner.
It's not hearing it.
It's you. Nobody else here.
Okay, all in favor indicate saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, minutes pass. Public comment, I'll open this portion of the meeting for public comment on any Port Authority items. Any citizens wish to speak on Port Authority items? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment. We'll move down to general discussion. And any general discussion from the commissioners?
So we had talked a little bit about taking maybe Triangle Park and moving it to Parks and Rec from the Port Authority. I'd like to see if we can get that on the agenda at some point. We talked about it I think 2 meetings ago. So if we can get that on one of our workshops coming up.
Don't
And
transfer
an
ownership.
overall idea of what ownership the port, not just specific to that park, but what the Port Authority owns, what our plans are. It looks like we're making some momentum with the dredging, obviously, and then with getting the port declared as a port. So just an overall discussion, kind of go in depth in maybe those 3 areas. And if we are moving forward those things, I'd like the idea of us talking about a port manager at some point. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Turner?
Oh, yes, when we do that, could we possibly come up with a list of pros and cons of making Triangle Park? You know, one of the cons, of course, we wouldn't have been able to fund it we funded the playground out of the port. We wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't part of the port. So just pros and cons, you know, as we're going through the discussion. I think it's a very valid discussion to have, so.
Okay. Can we put that on the next workshop? I guess probably in March. Okay. Unless you want to do it at transportation, but usually transportation is pretty full, so.
I believe it was all the way until the regular.
Yeah, regular one in March. Okay. All right,
Chairman,
Commissioner Rawls?
can we include all the port properties if we're gonna have a general discussion? Thank you.
Does that agree with everybody? Yeah, probably time to do that.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? During rural days, we had quite a few meetings in Tallahassee, and one of them with the port people. So anyway, Sam Sullivan, if you want to come and give us a report. And Sam actually was in Tallahassee last week at a conference that had to do with port authorities.
I'll try to do my best, sir. I wasn't quite expecting this. As you know, after our visit in Tallahassee for Rural Days, we set up a meeting with the Florida Ports Council, and they invited us to attend their board meeting, which was the following week, which was last week, Wednesday and Thursday of last week. All the port directors for the state of Florida were present, except for a couple, and we met with them, we made contacts with them, we explained to them what our project was, which was far different from what they thought it was, and that helped alleviate some of their concerns they had about what we are doing here in Putnam County, and they seem to be very supportive now of our project. They are supportive of the legislation which has been amended in the House, and so they are very excited about what we're doing. They're very supportive. We're going to be getting a lot of help from a lot of people, including Jacksport, into moving our project forward and helping with some of our feasibility reports that will help us get the dredging and other items forward and get us onto the Ports Council itself. That's kind of a quick summary of what went on there. I'm glad to answer any questions as best I can.
Is there a time frame that we would, could expect to either be on or not included in the port?
There's a soft date of 2024, but that could probably be extended. It's going to be dependent on.
When do we think that we might be in, if we're in, as far as being in the Port Association or whatever it's called?
I believe, Mr. Chairman, there's legislation going through now in both the House and the Senate. If it gets through the legislature this year, we should be able to have a seat at the port at the upcoming calendar year. We'll see. I'll reach out to both Senator Perry's office as well as Representative Payne's office for a date. But it is going through the legislature right now to give us that seat.
Good, thank you.
And to add on to what Mr. Suggs just said, it's also conditional on our feasibility study, not just the one we are undergoing with the Corps, but one also with the Ports Council that would be required.
Good deal, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the biggest thing that we got out of the opportunity to go up and meet with the Florida Ports Council during Rural Days, as well as Mr. Sullivan going back this past week, was an opportunity to actually share the vision of the project itself and what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. And I think that went a long ways to easing some of the concerns throughout the state, especially with the Ports Council. And so it's kind of paving the way for us a little bit now. And I'd like to also, at this opportunity, to give a shout out to Representative Bobby Payne, who on short notice took an opportunity to spend a few minutes with the Florida Ports Council at the Capitol on Thursday, I believe it was, of this week. And so he carved out enough time out of his busy schedule to do that. So it's really looking good for Putnam County right now in Tallahassee. So I just want to give that update as well. And thanks, Sam, for going back to Tallahassee on such short notice.
Okay. Commissioner Rawls?
What were the concerns that were expressed?
There was some language in the bill, but that had already been addressed by the time I was at the meeting. That had been worked out with Representative Payne's office in the legislature. So that has been amended. They're happy with that new language. The other concern was they were under the impression that the dredging request was from Green Cove Springs, the Shands Bridge, all the way to the port. Once I explained to them that no, it's just from the navigable waterways to our port, there was a big relief, especially on the Jacksport side.
They were concerned that the request came from Green Cove?
No, they were concerned that we wanted them to dredge
I
all
got
the
it.
way from
Oh.
Green Cove down the river to our port.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions?
I have.
Commissioner Rawls, you done? Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sam, thank you so much and for doing all that you did during Rural Days and last week up there. For the audience and the people watching, you might be going, Putnam County Port, what's all that about? Well, for years, and when I first got here, and Commissioner Rawls has also done it, went up there and to Jack's Port and talked to them about what could happen in Putnam County. We own property out by Veritas Steel, and for years we've leased that property, but we have been contacted over the years about getting things down here from the Jacksonville area through the Atlantic Ocean and into our area. It just wasn't deep enough. And there's probably every month or every couple months we get an inquiry of someone who wants to drop off soil, for example, or you know, material that they mine up in the Carolinas and they ship down, and it would go, right now it would currently go under the bridge, but when the bridge is widened or heightened, the outer beltway, it's going to allow for more commerce to come down that river. So, and they don't want to offload or can't offload in the Jacksonville area and then drive their product around when they have to drive it to Stark or something like that. It would be easy just to unload here and go that way. So when you think about Putnam County having a port, it's not unreasonable, because years ago, the St. Johns River was the navigable water for commerce to take place. So don't laugh about it. Think about how the opportunity could help the county. There's many opportunities here. I think that once we get started, we as a board has decided to even try to purchase some property out there, a sizable investment using the money from the old spec building that was sitting vacant, and a gentleman bought it and spent millions of dollars upgrading it, many hundreds of employees. I mean, things are happening here, and it's just kind of exciting to finally see that tire grabbing traction off the side of the road and going into the lane where it's going. So what does that port look like in the future? I don't know, but I'm excited that we even are into that conversation right now. So again, thank you to our administration, and thank you to all the commissioners that were up there beating the drum about the port. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all right, thank you, Sam. Thank you for all you do. Any other general discussion on Port Authority items? Okay, we'll adjourn to Port Authority and reconvene the Board of County Commissions meeting, and we'll move down to presentations. And our first presentation is item A, and today we have with Miss Sabrina Crosby with Crime Stoppers of Northeast Florida. It's the Putnam County Law Enforcement Officer of the Year Award. And thank you for being here.
Good morning, thank you. I'm honored to be here. County Commissioners and Chair Pickens, thank you again for having us each year to provide this special presentation. I serve on the Northeast Crime Stoppers Board and have for about 6 years, I believe. I am also with Flagler County Public Schools, but we're in Circuit 7, so we're all together, but I live here in Putnam County. So I know Steve is on the agenda, so obviously I'm not Steve. I'm sorry he could not be here. His flight was delayed due to weather, so I would have been here anyway. I was here last year, and I am also one who reviews those applications. They're also very challenging to select because they're all just incredible officers. But this year, the Putnam County officer who was selected is Sergeant Sean Valdivia. And I'd like to have him go ahead and come forward, and also Sheriff Deloach to come forward as well. I know that he would like to share a few words, but again, just an incredible officer. Of course, served in the United States Marine Corps. My husband did as well. And he has just brought a lot to Putnam County Sheriff's Department. So I'm going to ask that our sheriff says a few words about that.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Sabrina. To say that Sergeant Valdivia is an asset to the Sheriff's Office is probably a gross understatement. Sean is, without measure, probably one of the most intense people that I've ever met. A man of very few words, but when he speaks, he intends for everyone to listen. Sean sets a great example for leadership for our young aspiring deputies who have chosen Putnam County as their home here, and we're certainly very proud to have him. He does a great job for us, and we hope that he stays with us for a long, long time.
And look at that and read this. This says to Sergeant Sean Valdivia, Putnam County Sheriff's Office, nominee for Crime Stoppers Law Enforcement Officer of the Year 2021. A special thanks for your distinguished accomplishments. Then we have another, presented to Sergeant Sean Valdivia, Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Putnam County Officer of the Year 2021, for outstanding service to the community. And in addition, he will receive from the Florida Gun Exchange a gift of a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus 9mm.
All right.
And so they'll contact you directly. Yeah, I had to
I'm
write that.
surprised Sean didn't clap for that one.
But you see,
And they'll contact
his
you
face
next
lit up. He's smiling finally.
If you don't need it.
Again, congratulations. It's our honor to honor you. And thank you for serving and protecting each of us every day.
Sean, you want to say a few words before we get a picture?
Sure he does.
Yeah, he was right when I'm saying I'm not a man of few words, but thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
You can hold both. You earned it. Good deal.
Okay, as Commissioner Harvey said, this is the fun part of our job, is to be able to participate in recognition of some of our employees. So we'll move down to item B, Sheriff's Office Employee Recognition. So as Sheriffs Deloach and Joe Wells will come forward to honor 3 different sheriff's deputies.
Good morning again. It's our pleasure to be here today to recognize 3 of our members for exemplary service who will be receiving the Life Saving Award. Colonel Wills will recognize them and then read the citation, and I'd invite each of them to come up and join me at the podium.
Thank you, Sheriff. On Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, Sergeant Nick Vieira responded to an address in Interlachen, Florida, in reference to a drug overdose. Sergeant Vieira was one of the 3 Putnam County Sheriff's Office members who responded and located the patient on the living room floor, unresponsive and not breathing. It was said that the patient ingested heroin and fentanyl. After the first dose of Narcan was administered by Deputy Amy Vicari, Deputy John Gogan attached his agency-issued AED and began chest compressions. Though the AED did not give authorization for a shock, Deputy Gogan continued to give chest compressions per his training. A second dose of Narcan was then administered by Sergeant Nick Vieira, at which time the victim regained consciousness and his ability to breathe and respond. Putnam County Fire Rescue arrived on the scene and took over medical attention. The patient was ultimately transported to Putnam Community Medical Center and survived this incident. It is the mission of the Putnam County Sheriff's Office to ensure that substance abuse disorder never become a death penalty. There should not be a death penalty for this, and by these deputies' actions, they have given this victim and his family one more chance at recovery and not lose a loved one to the terrible situation we're seeing with the fentanyl these days. So congratulations to Sergeant Nick Vieira, Deputy Amy Vicari, and Deputy John Gogan. If you three will please come forward.
In recognition of your courageous activities during an emergency by coming to the aid of a fellow human being with dedication and diligence, you're hereby commended for your outstanding actions, which led to the preservation of life. Congratulations.
Sheriff, would you like to invite their families and people that came with them up here for a photo with them, with us up front?
Commissioner Rawls, you have a comment?
I just want to say that there's very few opportunities in your life that you get to affect change, either in a community or in someone's life. And not only did you guys rise to the occasion, but you put aside any differences you might have had. You're law enforcement first, people. Your job is to arrest the bad guys, and typically, we look at people that have substance abuse disorders as the bad people, but in your case, you didn't. You put it aside, and I think as a community, this is an opportunity right now for us to reflect on the fact that if we put aside our prejudices against people that have substance abuse disorders and look at it more as an illness, like somebody that might have cancer or something else, it would go a long way. And I just want to thank you very much for what you did, because you had a decision to make. And you made the right decision. And I'm sure the family members of the people, the person that you saved did it, but you'll never forget that. And I sit here as emotional as I can be because I know that feeling. But, I used to, when I was a paramedic, go back to the firehouse and you say, well, we did our job. But later on you think about it and you did your job, but you did something that affected somebody's lives, in this case, a whole family. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's give him one more. Okay.
One quick point of privilege that I'd like to point out here is, it's incredibly precious for us to be able to honor these deputies today, but specifically Deputy John Gogan. Those of y'all here who do not know, Deputy Gogan was one of our two involved in a horrific traffic crash on State Road 20 while trying to come to the aid of a domestic violence victim just over a year ago. And he is here today as an example of the saving efforts by Putnam County Fire Rescue and the job they did with him. So to go from a year ago where we were with John in the hospital and visiting him to awarding him for saving someone else's life is truly the full circle, and it's an especially big honor to have John here with us today.
Okay, thank you. Let's give him one more hand.
You probably need to stand up there if you don't bring all the family up.
Sheriff, will we get a picture with, if the family wants to come up, you just line up here and the commissioners will stay up in the back with staff will come over.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Right in here between us, Matt.
Squeeze in here.
You're all right. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
We'll share pictures, yeah.
Y'all get a little tighter in there?
Yeah.
Get a little tighter. Okay, tighten it up.
Sheriff, thank
Thank you,
you.
Sheriff. Thank you. you have a birthday yesterday? You want to sing happy birthday? Please don't do me any favors.
Yeah. You want us to sing happy birthday?
I want you to say that.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead, sir.
An hour later.
We get everybody to participate.
All right, thank you, Sheriff, and to all the deputies. This morning, Amy she came in pretty early, and Commissioner Turner saw her in the lobby and said, "Are you here to protect us?" And she said, "No, I'm here to win an award." So, anyway, and you did. Thank you, all of you, for your service.
But
So,
she did offer to protect us.
Yes, she did.
So
So, and I would be remiss if we could wish Sheriff Gator Deloach, he had a birthday yesterday. Won't ask him which one it was, but anyway, happy
I think it
birthday.
was 26, if I'm not mistaken. There you go.
25 again, so. Okay. Okay, we're going to move down to our next presentation. They probably get some technical stuff taken care of, but we're going to have Ms. Sheila McCoy from the Palaca Christian Service Center come forward for a presentation. Sarah, do you need a few minutes?
Nope, we're ready.
That's good.
I'm just going to show her what to do.
Ms. Sheila, you ready?
I think so.
That's right.
Slide, hit the space bar, and it's going to take you to the next slide.
Okay,
Does that make sense? I'm right here if you need me.
okay,
Okay, and this one.
okay. Where's my?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay.
You're good. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the privilege of making this presentation to you this fine rainy morning. And if you don't mind, this is for me. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. The Palaca Christian Service Center, doing business as the Heart of Putnam, we are a present help in the time of need, serving the needs of our neighbors in Putnam County, because man that is born of a woman is of few days, and some of those days are full of trouble. So that's why Putnam County needs the Palaca Christian Service Center. We're here to help. This slide is where we are now, location at 2600 Peter Street, and there is a shot of the building that we're in. We were organized, this is a little bit of history, we were organized in 1992 by the Greater Palaca Ministerial Association, and this year we are celebrating 30 years of being in service to our community. We moved to 820 Reed Street in May 2007, forming the Heart of Putnam Service Center, a one-stop service center for those in need. And we had to move to 2600 Peter Street in 2015 due to a decline in donations. That year there was some kind of economic problem, and we lost about $30,000 in donations that year. Services we provide, basic need, food, clothing, and shelter. With partnerships, we partnership with a lot of other organizations. We provide elderly care, and we can refer for employment needs. We've even helped people some young ladies go to college. And so we do a lot of things. Successful ministries that started at the Palaca Christian Service Center, South Putnam Service Center, the Heart of Putnam Food Pantry, Cold Weather Shelter, the Simmons House. We assisted God's Kitchen Ministry, the Heart of Putnam Coalition, which was trying to bring together businesses, nonprofits, and government to begin to have a strategic plan to conquer some of our needs in our community. And I've heard talk about a one-stop shop facility. We managed one well for a while. In the Heart of Putnam, this one, okay, we do monetary assistance, we do food stamps assistance. Prison reentry program runs out of our building. We are the Salvation Army Service Unit for Putnam County. We have a thrift store where we sell clothes, helps with income, but we also give clothes. Real Sense tax income, tax assistance has been running for about 10 years, but this year we are in need of a site coordinator, so don't quite know if we're going to have it this year or not, but since it's been running. And on a phone referral service. People call us a lot of times for direction. I'm here today because I need your assistance. We need government representation in a lot of our local meetings. Again, we tried to start the Heart of Putnam Coalition back in, I think it was 2014 maybe, when the city of Palaca was experiencing a lot of homelessness. We had the mix, but only very briefly, where we had the businesses and the nonprofits and government coming together to try to solve this homeless situation. Again, when Congressman Yoho was in the safety net, we were trying to emulate Clay County, where they have this meeting of the same people of the businesses, the nonprofits, and government. They meet every month to try to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. And you will see an article soon, if not today, in the Palaca Daily News about EFSP, which stands for Emergency Food and Shelter Program. They run it in phases, and there's 2 phases about to start now. Phase 39 and phase ARRP. I think I said it right. But anyway, we come together, and it needs to have some kind of representation on it, and we decide the best way to split the money to take care of the additional monies to help take care of some of our needs in our county. Please remember us. We want you to remember us for our vetting experience, because I think last year there was an opportunity for us to work together to do some vetting, but it never happened. You went outside of the county. Remember us for the social services that we provide to our community. Assist us in bringing our community together to solve our unmet needs. Mayor Garcia said that whatever that's needed in Putnam County, you better believe that somebody is working on it. And if we could bring those somebodies to the table, all of us together, working on the same concern, I believe that we can solve homelessness and help our community move forward. Working together ensures that all are helped in their time of need. And this quote keeps coming back to me, so I need to express it to you. I don't know where it came from, but it resonated with me as a young girl. And it said that if you wanted to know the character of a person, is you watch how they treat somebody who cannot do anything for them. That's when you discover true character. You know, this is a give me world. But if you want to know the true character of a person, you watch how they treat those who cannot do anything in return. And success can only happen when we work together. Thank you. Question?
Thank you, Ms. Sheila. Commissioner Rawls?
I just want to say amen. You're 1,000% correct. And the needs that we've experienced, you know, you said that something happened in 2007, your revenue was decreased, but then 2008, 2009, 2010 hit, and you guys still persevered. And you saw the needs increase, and we're coming right back into that cycle right now. Only this time, it's not being brought on by a housing bubble that's busted. It's starting ahead of that. It's coming on with inflation that's really rampant, not just in food and groceries, but everything that we attempt to purchase. And then when you look at the social needs and what's happening in the community, where the pressures that are being put on families as a result of the having less income or not being able to get to that next level for whatever reason, I think your challenges and the business that you're in is going to be a lot more needed in the community. And we've talked since last July about having some sort of brick and mortar one-stop location to be able to address homelessness, food insecurities, substance abuse disorders, mental health disorders, just having the ability for folks within Putnam County to be able to stay in Putnam County and get the services and not have to travel out. So I stand in full support of whatever it is you guys are doing, and I'll do whatever I can do to help y'all. But I'm only one of 3 that you need to get to say yes. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Adams, that?
I think part of your ask is that you need a representative from this board to participate with you, is that correct?
Yes, especially in the emergency food and shelter program.
I mean, if the
Not
board-
necessarily you, but a designee.
If the board is willing, I'd be more than willing to participate in that if you want to
Okay,
reach out to me.
I'll send you the notification of the meetings.
Yeah, that's fine. I was going to ask what they asked you, but it sounded like what Commissioner Adams was talking about, you wanted a representative, or for us to appoint a representative
Yes.
for your board. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Michelle.
Well, you just got one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
We'll see you Thursday morning, right, Sheila?
Say that
You'll
again?
be here Thursday morning?
Thursday or Wednesday?
This Thursday?
Okay, all right.
No, that's different.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sheila.
9 a.m.
Thank you for offering that.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Okay, we will move down to item 5, public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters which the board had no prior information. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any citizens wishing to make public comment on agenda items? Okay, all right, we will close the public comment portion. And we'll move down. Before we go to the consent agenda, I'd like to ask Charles Overturf to come up, Supervisor of Elections, and we will officially talk about the canvassing board appointments. Okay, Charles, welcome.
Good morning. As we all discussed 2 or 3 weeks ago now, there is that county commission requirement that one of you all, if possible, serve on the canvassing board. Some of you have had that privilege and some have not. So we're back here today to discuss that. We do have a state meeting for the entire state officials in March, so our deadline is getting really close. So that's why I'd asked Commissioner Pickens if it was possible we could discuss that and see if we can come up with an actual member, and then we also need to come up with an alternate per state statute.
Okay, thank you, Charles. We've had this discussion before, and we have a couple of commissioners that are running for office, and then some that will definitely be involved in different campaigns. So I took it upon myself to go ahead, and if it's okay with the board, I will represent the board on the canvassing board. And then I have asked John Hodge to be the alternate, and he has agreed to do so. So I'd like to make that recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I move that you are appointed as the chair of or on the canvassing board.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Do we need a motion to vote on, or to just approval?
Got it now?
Okay, we got a proper motion, proper second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. So, looks like I'll get that privilege to do that, so. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I left John Hodge off. I'm sorry. Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do a separate one for John Hodge to be the alternate.
I
if we
move
get-
that John Hodge is our alternate. I'm sorry.
Okay, we got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey, proper second by Commissioner Turner. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay, all right, Charles,
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
that's fine. Okay, we'll move down to, unless y'all want to break.
No.
Move down to the consent agenda. You want to break? 3-minute and 8-second break. Board of County Commissioners meeting, and we'll move down to item 6, the consent agenda. Commissioners, any items you're wishing to pull? I'll start with Commissioner Adamsack.
Item F.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes, I would like to pull items G and items H.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls.
Item C.
C.
Yes.
Commissioner Harvey.
I was going to pull one, but it's already been pulled, so I have none, sir.
Okay, I want to pull item M.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the consent agenda, item A, B, D, E, I, J, K, and L.
Second.
Okay, got a proper motion to approve that part of the consent agenda, and we got a proper second. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, so we'll start with Commissioner Adamsack, and it was item F, correct?
So, for consistency's sake, when I looked at that, the way it's worded, it doesn't say District 5. And there are some roads for District 5, so I just wanna, that's a typo, I guess.
No, sir, it's not a typo. The other districts were awarded by district.
Okay.
That one District 5 has one road within District 5 that's going to be awarded to a second vendor. So we had to break out the roads in District 5 and list them individually.
Okay, I just didn't read that way to me, but that's fine.
Yes, sir.
And just to be consistent, this is a prior list, which on all forward ones I've pulled the priors and updated them with ones that score better. I don't support this list, but it was already kind of in flight when I took office.
Okay.
So I will be voting no, just because I think there's better roads in my district that could have been served, and just for consistency's sake. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval on item F.
Second.
Okay, we've got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey and a proper second by Commissioner Turner to approve item F. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, the record show 4-1 with Commissioner Adamsack dissenting on that. Okay, Commissioner Turner, we have item G and
Yes,
H.
my request is to table item G and H until the next consent agenda. I've asked for additional information that's still forthcoming on the concerning the bid and the way it was handled and what have you. So I'm just asking that you give me another couple of weeks and staff another couple of weeks to finish the research and the talking with the players.
Okay,
Is that
Need a
consistent
motion?
with our policy?
Staff concurs with the request that we can do the further research and get back and then bring this back to the board at a.
Mr. Chairman, I move that
future
we
meeting.
table item G and H until the next meeting.
Second.
okay, got a proper motion to table item G and H by Commissioner Harvey and a second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion? And this will come back to, when will it come back to us, the next agenda? So, okay, so it'll come back to us in February.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, may I ask a question? Do
Commissioner
we need to
Harvey?
talk about this at a workshop of the concerns, or we just give Mr. Turner the opportunity to?
May I answer?
Yes.
I don't know that we do yet. I've asked for some information, and because that information is still forthcoming, I don't know if we need to take
Okay.
it to workshop first or not. But if we do, if it turns out that we do, then I'll bring it up at the next one and ask that it go to workshop. But I just don't have that information I need now to make that call. So
Thank
if
you.
we could just put it off for 2 weeks, that'd work for now.
Okay, got a proper motion and a proper second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll table those two items. Commissioner Rawls, item C.
Yeah, just, when I was reading through this, the original contract did not have the additional services included. My concern is if we approve this the way it's proposed without deleting page 110, we basically create an ongoing contract that can be used for quote-unquote additional services where we pay by the hour and don't have any control over it because we're agreeing to it in this amendment. So I'm just wondering why, I wrote why at the top of the page, and I just wonder why they needed to include that. It was not included in the original contract.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Commissioner Adams, that was first, and I'll get you
sorry.
next.
That's right.
Okay.
And I guess if I'm reading it, the reason why I kind of didn't mind this is just because in page 109, it had the do not exceed 7.5% and 4.5%. As long as there's that cap, I'm all right with it, but if there's some way they can get around that cap,
This is additional services in lieu of, or in addition to the, what they currently provide. It goes on to talk about affordable housing finance proposals, USD, water and wastewater grant loans. I mean, it just, you could almost pick and choose a lot of different things. FERDAP application, I just don't know why.
To the cap.
No, this, so the,
You think that the page 110 is in addition to the cap on page 109?
yeah, it says additional services if needed, and they included a bunch of additional services.
so I guess, Rich, would the first paragraph on 109 apply to all those services? They couldn't exceed those caps?
I mean, by,
That says per housing unit. That's specific to housing.
by state regulation, you can't use more than 10% for administrative from SHIP. That includes the money for the legal, advertising, things like that, as well as the cost for Guardian. So I don't know
This
what,
isn't SHIP. This is additional services not related to SHIP.
right, I don't know what their expectation is from that, as far as whether or not they think we would pay that out of some other fund.
If we made a FERDAP application for a FERDAP grant, for instance, we could hire them to do that. They would charge $10,000.
Well,
That's-
at the risk of making everybody in the room pass out, I actually agree with him on this one. I think that if there's a chance that they could go with these additional fees, could go over 10%, and we would have to maybe pay the 10% out of an additional pot of money because you can't use over 10% out of the program monies, that could be an issue. So, do we need to look at this or take a closer look at it, or maybe table this one to the next meeting and let Rich have time to look at it and do research and give us his opinion on what the changes mean?
Mr. Chairman, confer up here on the dais, I think it'd be a good idea for us just go ahead and table this so we can get further confirmation on this. A lot of these items may or may not pertain to the SHIP program, which means they would have to get authority first and approval to move forward on a project, such as a FERDAP grant. We wouldn't just automatically give them an opportunity. That staff would handle those things. But let us take a little closer look at this, a deeper dive, and we'll bring this back to the board.
Okay, well, Commissioner Rawls, since this, I see your lights on, Commissioner Harvey.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yeah, I'm willing to go table this and wait, but it does say additional services if needed. So I didn't have a problem with that, but I'm willing to table it. I want to make sure that we're not doing something we shouldn't be doing.
I don't have a problem with that either, because we are moving forward with the SHIP program, so there's no sense rushing this through. But I understood that it was additional services if needed by a request from the Board of County Commissioners.
That is correct, and that was the way that we wrote it and proposed it as well. But just so there's no issues, no ambiguity, and no, just for clarification, we'll look at this and make sure, if necessary, those items can be stricken. But you're right, they were additional items, if needed, that were approved by the county to move forward on.
When I read this, I also interpreted it to read that, but if there's a chance that we're incorrect or inaccurate in that belief, it's worth putting it off 2 weeks just to make sure that we haven't messed up or done something that we unintentionally didn't want to do.
We all agree with that, and, given the, where we are today with our SHIP program, I think it would be the right thing to do, is make sure that we're all on the same page when we move this forward.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table this until a future meeting, that staff can go back and do their research and recommendations.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey and a proper second by Commissioner Rawls. Commissioner Rawls, you have any other comment?
Yeah, just for clarification, my concern is, in the original contract, we're amending a contract to increase the allowable amount. I get it.
Commissioner,
We-
would you just mind getting with the attorney after the meeting, then that'll give you all time to work out whatever concerns you may
Well, no,
have.
what I'm saying is I don't think that this is germane to what we should be doing because we're taking the original contract and modifying a lot. We're not just saying we're going to pay you a few more dollars here. We're saying we could also use you for this. And so
I understand your interpretation, that's good. I'm just asking if you would
Okay.
get with them and see if they agree with your interpretation. If not, we can discuss it when it comes back before.
Well, it's not interpretation. It's a complete, we're changing the contract, basically,
Okay.
the scope of the work actually. So, thank you.
Okay, and also, Administrator Suggs, on 109, I had the question yesterday at the pre-agenda meeting about the numbers 2,500 versus 23, and Sarah said, so that needs to be corrected in there. too.
Absolutely, that's, the 25 versus 23 will be addressed in the amendment.
Okay, all right, we got a proper motion on the floor. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay, I think it's, item M, I just want an explanation, and I think I understand what happened here, but if I could get an explanation of, just to verify in my mind that, sounds like we just ran out of time on the state contract.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, sir, you're correct. The issue was that Microsoft did not, they changed their policy for enterprise agreements. There was no exceptions given rather, that were outside of the state contract period. Basically, the state contract was not renewed, so we had to go out to find quotes and bids and all, kind of was backed in the corner for that. But that's the reason why.
Okay.
You're correct.
Was there any, if I
Excuse me,
may?
excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Rawls?
Has there been, or will there be any consideration of using anything besides Microsoft for this type of product? Like, in my company, we use Google Workspace. It's Linux-based.
Yes, sir.
Seems to be a lot more secure. We've had zero issues
Right.
since we started using it, and it's a lot more intuitive and seems to be a lot more widely accepted than it used to be.
Yes, sir. We're looking to, in about a year and a half, to do a deep dive into a study of what the county's needing. We were looking at 365, but there are other options are totally, we're looking at those as well. It's really going to be right in line with about the same cost as 365. I do know that in 3 years, we are going to have to move to that, one platform or the other. Just because of how Microsoft is, specking out what their servers need to be and things of that nature. But it's certainly something we're looking into and considering for sure.
Our experience, we went from 365 to that. So we were at 365 for about 6 years. And the difference is pretty close to night and day.
Sure. I've talked to different counties and things like that, what they're using. Went to a conference a couple of weeks ago and had those questions and all that. But yeah, it's something we're definitely going to look into to see what our best options are going to be for, certainly to try to save the county as much money as we can in that venture. So yes, sir, we are for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Turner?
Oh, yes. It's my understanding we already approved this item, but the item couldn't be bought under the same procurement procedures. But we're still buying the same item from the same company. Did we spend more money?
I believe would come in just a hair less expensive than the original quote, I believe.
Do you mind me asking why this had to come back to the board? Because we already approved it to be bought from the same people, and this is less than the previous approval. Why? Because
Your
of
board action specifically states in our procurement code the contract that the staff is authorized to buy from, and when that contract expired and the state non-renewed it, the staff couldn't take the action the board
I understand that,
authorized.
but it's the same company for less money and the same service that we were gonna buy before.
Correct.
But it was a procurement change is
Correct.
what we're actually looking at today.
Correct.
Okay, just wanna make sure I understood. That's what I thought it was. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Adams, that?
So we're not only just approving this year, right? It's a 3-year contract, correct?
It always was, but yes, sir.
So it's 400,000 or something? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you, James.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, I move approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a proper motion to move item forward. We got 3 seconds. I'll take Commissioner Adams' act. So, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll move down to, unless I've forgotten something, we'll move down to item 7, code enforcement. Mr. Moore.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
The address is 533 Palmetto Bluff Road. The property owners Juan Camelo and Diana Camelo. The violation is unsafe mobile home and care premises. The original fine amount was $20,505.50. The total cost of enforcement action was $6,515. Property owner has recently purchased the property. It is now compliant, and he's requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Okay, any questions of staff?
I do. I think Commissioner Rawls.
Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry, Jeff. Commissioner Rawls?
Go ahead, Mr. Turner. Actually, I'll wait till after the gentleman speaks.
Okay, Commissioner Turner.
I noticed on the list of charges that I hadn't noticed previously, there's another line item for special magistrate hearings. I don't think I've seen that on previous ones. It's been just administrative monthly.
No, sir, it's been there.
It's been there, I just haven't noticed it previously. Okay. Okay, that's the only question I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other questions of staff? Okay, is the property owner here? Would you like to make any comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners.
If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Juan Carlos Camelo. I'm on title. And when you say address, my home address?
Yes, your
Yes,
home
it's
address.
19800 Southwest 180 Avenue, Lot 103, Lot 177, Miami, Florida, 33187.
Okay, would you like to make a comments on this particular codes case?
Yes, sir. First of all, my wife and I would like to thank you for beginning these meetings with a prayer. We believe that prayers are very powerful, and also for putting us on this agenda. As you'll see on the agenda, it not only has my name, but also has Diana Camelo. That is my daughter. She's a U.S. Navy sailor, presently stationed in Japan, and that's why she's not here. She's stationed on the USS Ronald Reagan. The reason for this purchase was to get a real estate portfolio started for her, not for us. My wife and I, we're not interested in that. But as a real estate agent, I know the power of having real estate, so we are getting that started for her. As you know, we just recently we just acquired that property through a tax deed sale. And what my wife and I can do, promise the board is that we will keep the property up to date. Right now, yes, we live in Miami, but if it's God's will, we will be living here in Putnam within the next 3 months. Yes, I made the mistake of not going further in depth of what the property had as liens. That is my error. But we are asking for you to please help us out with this debt. You will be acquiring good neighbors.
Okay, all right, thank you. Commissioner Rawls?
First and foremost, go Navy.
knew you were gonna
Zach
say
and I
that.
were both in the Navy. So, yeah, this is very painful for the commission. We've expressed this to a lot of different people. The only latitude that we're really allowed to shift on, that we have here to shift on, is to reduce the administrative monthly fee, in your case, by $450. The taxpayers of Putnam County made an investment in this property of $4,500. So we have to recoup that investment. Whether it's your property or somebody else's, we just don't have really any fair, equitable way around that. I'll be in favor of reducing it by the additional $450, but there's no way that we can take away that real cost that the taxpayers put into having the mobile home removed from the property.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you for coming. Did I understand that your daughter is actually going to be the one that's going to be living on this property?
No, sir.
No.
That, basically, I'm just getting a real estate portfolio.
It's an investment.
Okay,
No, as
thanks,
an
Ron.
investment, yes, sir, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Adamczak?
In his letter, there's a note about there was a surplus of funds of $3,901.24. Is that verified? I mean, wouldn't that surplus go towards anything that's against the property?
So, under tax deed sales, when there is surplus funds on a property and it sells above that amount, those funds go back to the previous owner.
Right, but wouldn't it have to take care of this judgment first? Or wouldn't
No.
it? Okay.
Really?
Really?
I would think that a government judgment would take priority to,
And I can research it, but I don't believe so. The typical process is, unless it is a filed lien on that property, and especially when it comes to tax deeds, and Rich may have more information on it, but I'll have to go back and look at the law, but a tax deed is a tax deed. The only thing on that, that I have read in statute is, anytime there's an excess, that excess goes back to the property owner, through a, I'm trying to think of the name of the process where they have to file.
Just a claim for surplus.
Yeah, but there's when there's more than one person that interpleader actions is what they're normally called. We have an attorney that goes through the interpleader actions if there's more than one claim to the property, but once it goes through all of that, it is
so
owed
the
to
prior owner
property
who's at fault for letting this get to the point would get the money, and they didn't do anything to take care of it. We abated it because of them.
Yeah, but,
That doesn't make sense.
but it would dive bomb the whole system if they did it, because then somebody knowing that that was there could spend $100,000 on the property if there was $100,000 in fines, and all the money would come back to reduce the fines. It would dive bomb the whole system we got going and make it invalid of what we've been trying to do.
What makes this one different to me, though, is it has the abatement. We actually did
We've
work,
had multiple ones with
Right.
abatement, yeah,
not with a surplus. I don't remember one with abatement and a surplus.
we have.
And we make claims when there is surplus.
Well, and, sorry, you done?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to see if there's a way to help. I
Right.
mean,
I'm with you.
Well,
Okay.
the thing about it is that this program's been very successful. And I think part of the reason it's been successful is the amount of times that we've tried to remain the same, consistent way that we handle it on every different case that comes before us. Some are even worse than this, some aren't. I mean, basically, you're buying it for investment property, I get it, I'm glad you did. But it's still just an investment issue with you. Some people, it's their livelihood, I mean, that they came in here and did it with, they live on the property. That's more heartbreaking to me than an investment property is. But to remain consistent with what we've done in the past, we can take the actual cost of the fine minus the administrative monthly fees and the cost of the abatement, and we could reduce this to $6,065, which is what our costs are on the project, minus any administrative fee and administrative monthly fee, and move it forward. And give you 90 days to pay for it. And if we give you anything other than that, then we're not being consistent with all the things we've done in the past. 4 years ago, you'd pay you the $20,000 or we're gonna take it from you again. That's what it would have been. So now, we've been trying to get other ways. We're glad it's cleaned up, and we're glad it's gonna stay cleaned up. That's the reason why we're offering this program, to try and reduce the fees. But we can't not get back the abatement costs that we put in it to make it nice enough for you to buy it in the first place.
No, I understand, if I may go back to what Commissioner Harvey asked, whether my daughter will be moving there. I'd be lying to you if I said yes. So I'm not going to say yes without knowing her final intentions.
I understand.
Number one.
and
Number
I
two,
appreciate that. I
the previous
really
owner
do.
has passed away. And number three, if Mr. Reynolds check, my understanding is that any surplus goes to any debts, any liens that are on the property.
Well,
So that's why I made the decision of
I
buying the
don't
property.
know that I agree with that without some research, because I think that some of this stuff, when it can't be an heir to send it to, goes to the state like banks. if a bank has money left in a bank and there's nobody there to give it to because the family passed away, that money goes to the state. That's the money they try to give back all the time on the excess funds up at the state level. So I'm not so sure it does or not, I really don't know. But to me, it has no bearing here at all. Because just because there was excess funds, you didn't know there'd be excess funds when you bought it. The other people didn't bid on the property because they might have went and done their due diligence and figured out there was a $20,000 lien on it. But it's bought, it's cleaned up, I'm good, as long as we get our money back, I'm all good. I think it's a wonderful program still. So, Mr. Chairman, I would actually make a motion that we reduce the cost to $6,065 to be paid within 90 days.
I second that.
I've got a proper motion and a proper second. Any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls?
Is the 90 days doable? Do you need more time?
Honestly, no, I was gonna find out, I was gonna ask, the next question was gonna be, what happens if I can't do it in 90 days?
How much time would you need?
Right now, I can show you, bank statements that there's only $4,000 in that account. I still need to spend $3,000 more on, the attorneys to do the quiet title. I mean, you know, obviously this would go first, because I know that I was told that there's no time frame on the quiet title. But right now, there's only $4,000.
So do you need 6
That
months?
account belongs to my daughter. I
Do you
can show
need
that.
6 months instead of 3?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, Mr.
You
Chairman,
amend your
I
motion?
amend my motion to 6 months instead of 90 days.
If I can say one last thing, would there be any possibility of Mr. Reynolds just reconfirming the issue with the surplus?
Doesn't make any difference in my motion.
Okay, we got a proper.
I second
We have
that,
an amended
Mr.
motion and we have an amended second.
I second.
Okay, and I was following along, the monies that goes back, Rich, did you say if there are liens, it satisfies them? What did you say? Why would that money not take care of the fees that the county has on this?
I have to talk to Mr. Rounds about that. We've been making claims for those amounts when we're aware of them.
But even then, it could go against the other 14,000 that's owed on this. It doesn't have to just go against the part that we're getting by settling out this portion of it. We could still make the claim for the 3,000 and the money would go into the abatement program, which is where all this money goes. So, I mean.
I agree. We've never been fully satisfied on any one of our claims, so.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rawls?
Can we agree that if the $3,000 is available and it can be used, and this is if, then that it goes towards the $4,500 that we paid for abatement, and then allow this to be.
I don't agree to that, no. I just told him it wouldn't make any difference to me.
I agree to that.
I think it makes,
two of you.
it makes a difference to me. It would reduce the fine to $1,500 plus the other costs, or it would reduce it by $3,000.
Well, how do you know? How do you know?
Let him
really?
finish, let him finish.
So basically,
Well, he ain't saying nothing that means
right now, as we're sitting, the property was sold, there was 3,000 overage. Why we didn't have a lien on the property, or why the lien doesn't allow that money to come back to us to offset the public's costs. So, to me, it seems like we would have been able to take that $3,000 and apply it to the $4,500, which would reduce the overall fine down to $3,065. I'm saying, can we leave the door open if this is possible to make that happen in this case, or any cases going forward where we know the money's available?
Commissioner Turner?
I'm not for that, Mr. Chairman. Number one, they can always use, if there's any money available and we find out about it, which sometimes you may not find out about it, it may go straight back to the family who need it a whole lot worse than the person who's coming up here and buying the investment property.
But the taxpayers paid, and the family didn't.
I understand that, but when they buy it and there's a lien on it, then there's money owed on it. In this case, it's
No,
$20,000.
I agree. It's your due
20,000.
diligence.
So we're gonna give a real estate investor out of Miami the tax break because there's no heirs left to take the $3,000? I can't get there.
I'm just saying I think it's something we should consider doing. We're not here to make money. We're here, and you've said it multiple times,
cleaned
we're here
up.
to clean the neighborhoods up,
Mr.
do what's
Chairman,
best
are
for
we
the
in a
public.
debate now? I didn't realize.
We're
that we were in
having,
a
we're,
debate.
we're having discussions, what we're having.
Okay, well then I think I have the floor. I waited on him to finish. and
Okay,
you called
all right,
on me.
then you have the floor.
Okay, so my point is that I don't think that we should put that task on the property appraiser to try and decide after every tax deed sale if there's any money that's not being claimed immediately to where it would go back towards that role of reducing a fine that may be on the property. That's the reason why we put this in place, is to get the place cleaned up, and it's been a very successful program. Get the place cleaned up, get it in new ownership, get it back on the tax rolls, and whoever buys it, if they buy it before it's abated, they got to abate it. If it's already been abated, they wouldn't have never paid as much for it as they did. So I guess the point that I'm having here is that this doesn't change, is a whole different discussion that we're trying to fit into this. This commissioner has a motion on the floor that we give them for $6,065, I believe it was, and I amended the motion for 6 months to try to help them pay where they wouldn't be in a crack. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Adamczak?
Yes, I would like to see us actually table this until we get the information back from the attorney and basically so that we have that information so we can discuss it with exactly what the legal information is for this particular instance. Because I would like to, well, it won't get my support the way it stands.
Haven't got it yet.
So I just, I think waiting till we get this, I think this is the first one that's come like this since I've been on this board, where they have a unique situation where there's an overage. I'd love to see him invest more in the county and buy more of these properties, and anyone else in this type of situation. So if this is a way we can help the program, if there is monies available, even for other ones, I think we should do that in all of them and set a precedence here if it's allowed. So I'd like to have that information before we vote on this.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey?
Well, I'm kind of torn on this one, and I'll be very frank with you. I think that due diligence would have probably drove your price down had you looked at, had you seen that there was this lien on it. You might not have paid so much, so the $3,000 probably wouldn't have come into play had you done that. But on the other hand, I will ask, I'm not going to delay this process, but I think in the future, Mr. Moore, let's just say, for example, that there's a $20,505.50 on this, and there's $3,000 overage that was paid, and the county got that or claimed that first. Would the recommendation still be $6,000, or would it be $3,000? You know what I'm saying? So I think going forward, I'm not opposed to having this conversation on what we can claim and get, but I do think due diligence would have provided you a lesser amount to pay. So I'm going to go forward with this today, but it gives me heartburn because I would love to help you out, love to help your daughter out who's in the Navy. I think that's very admirable, but this is investment property, and I get that. So I'm going to go forward with it. Thank you.
Like I said, when you asked me about whether my daughter's going to be moving there or not, she's not here. I cannot answer for her, and I'm not going to lie to you. That's why I'm moving to Putnam. I'm sick and tired of Miami, and I understand your grievance with real estate investors. That's why I'm moving out of Miami, because they're a bunch of liars. I'm not a real estate investor. I'm just helping my daughter for her future. That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls?
I agree with Commissioner Adamczak, and I would like to see us table this. I think that there's no reason to be in a hurry. I think this could be precedent setting and good for the community, where we seize the money that's, in my estimation, the property caused the problem, whether there was an owner or not. The property caused the problem, caused the taxpayers to spend $4,500. At the end of the day, the property raised $3,000. That money should go to offset that $4,500, in my estimation. My heart's torn for you, sir, because you overpaid by $3,000, and that $3,000 is going to go to the family, the people that created the problem. So it's a double whammy for you. I think we have the opportunity to do what's right, slow this process down a little bit, and you know, and see if there's an opportunity to shuffle that money back in and reduce your amount. So I'll be voting against this.
Mr. Turner?
This is not the first one of these we've had.
It's the first one that
This
since
is
I've been
not a
elected.
debate.
Wait a minute.
Just since I've been elected.
This is, I calmly waited until you were done. So, this is not the first one of these we've had. We've had ones previously that had money left over after the deal. In fact, at least two of them that I can think of were ones that had already, that the fine had already been reduced by a certain amount of money that was left over, and then they came back to us and asked for further reduction. So if we want to change precedents, which from all the other ones we've done in the past, to allow that to count towards the bottom line cost, that's another discussion. I am not willing to change my motion for today, that it's $6,065. I gave him additional time to pay, and that's where I'm going to stand at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Adams, Act?
I'm just very simply going to say I see no risk in delaying this for a week or two till we can confirm the questions. It's surprising to me that we wouldn't want to do that, and that's all I'll say.
Commissioner Rawls?
I guess my question would be, if we've done this in the past, then we've already set precedents, why would we not do it now?
Yeah, but the precedents, if you're asking me a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to debate you. In the past, we've used that money to reduce the overall fine before it ever came to us, and then we charge them services. The same thing we're doing today after the fine had been reduced by a certain amount. That's how we've handled it in the past.
So if we handle that now, we would be $3,000 or less.
No, we'd be 3,000 less than the 20,000.
Right.
But the whole thing starts at 20,000,
I
ends up at
understand, but it doesn't
Okay,
change
all
your
right.
administrative
All right.
cost.
I understand it now. Okay. All right. Matt, you wanted to say something?
I do. I just checked with staff, and they did get a request from the county for part of that surplus funds. The request was $3,116.24 based on the surplus funds from the sale of that property.
What happened to money?
It's coming back to the county. There's a check request in to cut a check back to the county for that. So the way that the tax deed sales works, in statute, anybody who has a claim to the property has a certain amount of time to make a claim after the sale of the property. In this case, the county did make a claim based upon that lien for the abatement, and based on the surplus monies, what is coming back to the county from that sale is $3,116.24.
I guess I have a question.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey's.
Oh,
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think again, what's giving me heartburn here is not the fact that you're buying it for your daughter and all that. I get that. It's number one, you overpaid. And had you known there was a lien, you wouldn't have paid another $3,000 over, and none of this discussion would be taking place today. The other caveat to me is the county's going to receive $3,000 back. There are people in this community who hound me all the time that we ought not to be reducing these fines at all. They are fines, they're there for a reason. We put them in our fee schedule, and you should have to pay the whole $20,505.15. There are people in this community, real estate agents, who say, don't give them a break. And they're insistent upon that. But if we didn't, we would inherit a lot of property that we don't want to own. And I'll tell you that. So again, I'm sympathetic with everything. But at the end of the day, had you done your due diligence, you would have seen that you were overpaying, and you would have reduced that, and we wouldn't be having this discussion today. So I'm going to stand firm that we need to move ahead. Would I like to see some changes? Possibly. But this isn't the day for us to have that conversation.
Commissioner Turner?
I would like for Mr. Cioffi to go ahead and make whatever comment that he's like jumping up and down in the back of the room and wringing his hands over. So if you could come on up, Mr. Cioffi, and make your comment, sir.
Good morning, Commission. So this happens frequently during the year. We get overages all the time on these liens. When it comes to you, if it was $20,000, the fine amount owed, it would show a total balance of 17,000 with a 3,000 overage. We do these all the time. This never affects the calculation of the hard cost. You know, it brings down the fine cost when it comes in front of you, but we get these all the time. 5 years I've been here, we've been doing this. So it's not really gonna help him any better. You guys have already granted a lot of leeway in reducing these fines. If you wanna do further, that's up to you, but we have always done this particular way, even with the overages, so.
So
we're not
it's
doing anything
always, it
different.
always come off of the total.
Correct.
Then
So if it was
when it gets,
100,000 and
then
we
when
got
it
a
comes
three-
down to be presented to us, that's when you work on what the hard costs
The
are.
total cost would be less, and the worksheet would still be calculated the same way.
And while I truly don't advocate that we try to start making money for this program, I also don't advocate, because we started this program 4 years ago and it's been very successful, that we start trying to lose money on the program and not continually build the money that we're using to abate these properties and put it in there and make the county nicer. I really do feel for the gentleman, I do, but it's not my fault as a sitting commissioner that he didn't do his due diligence and that he didn't send it to a title man before he bid on it, and, you know, and maybe 5 other people that would have been interested in the property did. And those 5 found out there was a $20,000 lien on it and said, ooh, I'm not buying that one. So this gentleman comes up and buys it. Instead of 20,000, we're gonna reduce it to 6, so it's not near as bad. I just don't see where the issue is. This is a hell of a deal for anybody to come in here with a $20,000 fine on a piece of property and walk out owing $6 grand with 6 months to pay. To me, that would be a pretty, about as good as you could expect. That's within our purview of what we've been doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Adamsack?
I guess my question is, why was number 3,100 and not 3,901.24 that's coming back? Just because we
It may be
were
based on fees and whatnot. I can
other
get the
people
calculation
maybe
for
had
you.
it ahead of us or something. So if you can get that to me, that'd be great. Here's what I'm gonna say. These don't come before us unless someone doesn't do their due diligence. Because had he saw this and saw 20,505, he wouldn't have bid on the property at all. So when we have $136,000 in one, we reduce it to $1,600, they wouldn't have bid on it either. So to say that it's a due diligence thing, no one ever is here that did their due diligence. And that's the comment I made a year ago, the first one of these we ever did. And that's unfortunate. It sucks, but it is what it is. So the due diligence thing, I think, doesn't play a part in my mind, because every one person that stood in front of us, and there's been like 60 of them, didn't do their due diligence. You know, I guess I wish we could do more, but it's gonna be the pleasure of this board as we vote on this motion, so I apologize.
Okay, one last comment. Commissioner Rawls?
I just want to restate, the $3,000 we're discussing is the money that you put in. I think that we really should consider the fact that there was an overage is because he paid the overage. It makes sense to me that that money should be applied to the bottom line here, and we reduced it to $3,065.
Don't agree.
Okay, we got a proper motion, a proper second on the floor. All in favor indicate saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes 3-2, and you have 6 months to take care of the note on it.
Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move down to number 8, comments, clerk of court, Honorable Matt Reynolds.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to add this morning.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appointments, commissioners, any appointments? I'll start with Commissioner Rawls.
I have one for the Better Place Plan, appointing Terrell Hill to the BPP.
Okay. All right, that's a district appointment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you got that, Sarah? Okay. All right, Commissioner Harvey?
Has he
I have-
turned in an application?
Has he done the application?
Mr. Chairman, to go back to Commissioner Rawls's appointment, we already have a city commissioner from the city of Palaca sitting on that board.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
So I would ask
I
for
don't-
clarification if we can do that or not.
It's a public meeting. So I don't know why that would be.
I'm just making reference to let everybody know that we have a city commissioner on it, and we might want to do some due
He'd expressed
diligence.
an interest in serving, and
I don't think it was a notice issue. It's a question of, do you want to have 2 people from the same body representing the same body?
I mean, what district do they represent? Say what? This is a district appointment.
My only reason for bringing it up was just to point out the fact that there's already a sitting commissioner representing the city of Palaca on that board. If there's no issue, no legalities with it, I have no issue with it. I just wanted you to be aware that there was a sitting commissioner sitting on that board already.
Okay, it's,
I have no other.
okay, it's his appointment. Is there any legal issues with it, or Rich would have to check? There's not? Okay. All right, Commissioner Harvey,
I have none right now.
Commissioner Adamsack,
I have none at this time.
Commissioner Turner,
I have one, sir. District 3 Library Board appointment, Dara Whitty, and there is an application received. Do you have an application on Commissioner Rawls's appointment? Okay, great. For that board? Don't you have to do one for each board? Okay, so if you've ever put one on file, it counts for any board that comes up in the future?
That's how I was taught, but if we have to be appointed and your application is from 5 years ago, I will typically contact.
Well, I don't really care one way or the other, I truly don't. I'm just trying to find out what the rules are, where I don't make my people do double or triple applications for different committees. You know, if they decide to change committee or let me appoint them to a different committee. I just want to make sure that they don't have to file another application. I know they don't, to be reappointed to the same committee, but
I don't think it's ever formally come up before, but it's not been an issue yet, and
I don't have a problem either way. I truly don't. If you could just maybe find out which way it should be and let us know, that would be cool. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, is
Okay.
Dora Whitty.
okay, all right. And Mayor Hill is already on the affordable housing. Is there any, I mean, can he serve on multiple committees such as they're just a,
No.
I'm just throwing that out, so we're having this conversation on it. He sits on the affordable housing committee.
The BPP is an oversight committee to verify that we have allocated funds properly to the Florida statute, so we'll,
And then this affordable housing is a advisory.
But it's also, the AHAC is a committee that makes decisions on the LHAP that's spending money. That's,
I think he's gonna have to make his decision, just like multiple people that we've applied, we've discussed this in the past.
Yeah, let's bring that up, because I hate for him to go through the motions and then we figure it out a few months later and have to do something.
if it's the chairman's wish, what we'll do is we'll take a look at it. We'll do a little cursory look to make sure
Is
that
that
we're
okay,
correct,
Commissioner
and then we'll bring it back to you one way or the other, whether it's, he can serve on both or not.
Yeah,
Commissioner Rawls,
I think the intent for the application when we did that was so we made sure that the people were registered and living in the district and we had their contact information. I don't know that it would benefit anybody on staff to make them do extra legwork, but, you know, if that's the,
I don't care.
yeah.
Well, I don't care. I mean, I just wanna know the rules. I think that you're gonna find, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think you're gonna find that perhaps he can't serve on both of these, and so he's gonna have to, either you or him, one, are gonna make up your mind which one you want him to serve
Yeah,
on.
if you'll get with me, let me know at the next meeting, we'll take it from there.
okay,
Thank you.
that's good. Okay, and I have no appointments. Okay, we'll move down to item 10, public comment on miscellaneous items. Any individuals wishing to make public comment on or miscellaneous items? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion, and we'll move down to County Administrator Terry Suggs.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for allowing us to bring an item forward this morning. We got Mr. Clay Davis, who's in the audience today, who is the chair of the Insurance Committee. There was a meeting yesterday with the Insurance Committee with some information that was presented, and there was a motion by the Insurance Committee to put an item together to bring in front of the board today. I would like to go ahead and turn this part of the presentation over to both Mr. Davis as well as Ms. Young on the agenda item itself, and answer any questions that you folks may have. This is an opportunity that we're looking at. As you know, last year we struggled with insurance costs, and we're looking at every opportunity that might be available to us on a way that we might be able to lower our cost. And this is one of those opportunities that I think certainly gives credence to what we're trying to do, and we want to bring it to the board today for further discussion and hopefully approval to move forward with this. Julianne?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Administrator. As discussed by Mr. Suggs, the Insurance Committee met and unanimously approved moving this forward to the board for consideration. What we have before us is a company who would adjudicate the claims made against our insurance claim. We have two aspects of it, post-payment and prepayment. So if in the post-payment world, these would be claims that we've already incurred and paid out, they will go back to the inception of our self-insured plan, so the time for which we went from fully insured to self-insured and took on the liability of those claims. And they would attempt to recover any claim that was not processed through the system correctly and return the dollars to the participating party. That could include the insured, the employee, and it could include us. So we may both have overpaid for a claim in past history. Based on the data that we provided to them, their estimated or expected recovery is between $315,000 to $945,000. It does require an upfront $50,000 implementation fee, and then there's a contingency of 35% they keep of what's recovered. They return to us 65% on a quarterly settle-up basis. They have made a guaranteed recovery return to the county of at least what we put in. So again, as we discussed in the item, this is a zero risk contract for the county, a zero net cost. It would be revenue generating, if anything, return dollars back to the county. On a going forward, looking ahead prepayment cycle, they would charge an $8 per member per month fee, which is in total $103,000, or at today's numbers based on our enrolled, $103,200. Again, we would have a guaranteed return of that over the course of a year. If they do not return claims of those dollars or save us from payment of claims for those prepayment dollars, they will cut us a check to make up the difference. They're expecting a 10% savings on prepaid claims. So of our claims total, what we pay in monthly, we can expect somewhere around a 10% reduction over the course of the year. There is two components, obviously, to engage the company and also to engage them under a waiver with a single source procurement. As for two factors, Claimomatics has a positive past performance with Blue Cross Blue Shield self-insured entities, and they're best suited to yield the county with the best value. Additionally, in the world of procurement, they're providing a guaranteed recovery return equal to 100% of the fee to engage, making it a zero risk, zero net cost to the county. And it's before the board.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to thank Mr. Davis for all the hard work. This is exactly where we wanted to be at. Probably should have been there a few years ago, but we're finally getting there. And sometimes these things need traction. I also want to thank Julianne for the diligence and Mr. Benji Bates for his contribution. Again, I feel like this, I know this is a single source contract. I'm usually against those, but I'll be very frank with you. I'm for this because I believe this company has the right history, the right knowledge, and to look under the rocks, bring money back to our employees, back to our self-insured plan. And I support this wholeheartedly, and I hope that every commissioner here will vote in the affirmative for this proposal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. And Commissioner Turner?
Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to make a motion on the issue, but I see Commissioner Adams act.
I can wait till after the motion.
Okay, my motion would be to approve the offer to Group Medical, no, that ain't it. What's the name, what's her
Claim
name?
Informatics.
Claim informatics.
Claim Informatic, at this time.
I second that.
Okay, we got a proper motion by Commissioner Turner and a proper second by Commissioner Harvey.
And do I still have the floor?
Still have the floor.
Okay. I would like to add to what Commissioner Harvey said. That's one of the major components of any self-insurance system, whether it be workers' comp or health insurance or whatever, is you have some company there adjudicating your bills, looking for double billings and looking for things. And in this case, it's gonna wind up costing us nothing. I assure you, it's gonna wind up costing us nothing. I would bet the britches that I have on that we're gonna actually make good money on this deal by the reduction of how much money we're gonna have to pay out in the future, not included what they're gonna go after in the past, while we haven't had somebody adjudicating these bills. So this is something that we should have set up, and it just got by us somehow, but we should have set it up upon induction of the self-insurance for health insurance. Luckily, we caught it. We know how to fix it through the due diligence efforts of staff. We found the company that has multiple other clients that they're doing the same thing for, along with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, so they get it all. So I'm very highly supportive of this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Adamsack?
I am highly supportive of the idea. I'm not highly supportive of single source. So I'll be voting no, because I'd like to see if there's any other players in that industry that would basically be interested in helping us with this and may do it on even a more economical basis.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls?
I brought this to Angela last year when she was here, and I also brought it to the insurance committee. But I also brought up the fact that we don't look at claims as they're being processed. And the example that I gave was if somebody was out of state on vacation and broke their leg, the hospital out of what's it called? Out of network. Excuse me. Can charge whatever they want. And I was asking then why we didn't have an advocate to look at billings as they were taking place. So I'm glad that we're having this. And I agree with Commissioner Adamsack in one regard. We got this last night. So I don't know that, I think we should bring this to a workshop and discuss it. I don't think it's appropriate that we get something a day before a meeting and then are told to vote on it. So I'll be voting against this for that reason. But I do like the fact that we're going this direction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Turner?
One last comment, Mr. Chairman. The reason it got to you last night is because 3 of us were in the insurance committee meeting, which all commissioners were invited to yesterday, and felt that this was important enough that the longer we drag it out, the more money it's costing the county. This is a zero taking any chances contract. There's no risk here, 0 risk. So with it being 0 risk, I actually asked, and so did the other commissioners, that it be brought here today. So this needs to go out quickly. And Julianne, I think, talked to more than one company when she was coming up with these, and this was her best shot at this. So I'm ready to move this forward, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Adamsack?
They're reviewing past claims, so I don't understand the urgency. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, but okay.
They're doing both. They're gonna go.
Yeah,
forward.
ongoing, I got you.
Okay.
But I mean, the main thing that'd be urgent is the past, right? We're trying to recoup some costs, right?
Trying to keep from paying out additional costs moving forward.
Yeah. Clay Davis is the chairman of our insurance committee and also works with the property appraiser.
Thank you, Chairman Pickens, members of the board. To Commissioner Adamsack and Commissioner Rawls' point, I'm not a single source guy either, but as I understand this company, when it comes to health insurance, coding is king, and this company has deep experience with Florida Blue and Blue Cross and Blue Shield, so they understand their coding. That's one of the things that you would have to be able to go after the clawback, the overage. So that's one of the reasons this company is so attractive is not only do they provide the guarantee, I'm not an upfront guy either, but they provide the guarantee. And I mean, if you think about it, if they look back 3 years, that's $15 million in claims we've paid. Mm-hmm. They're guaranteeing less than 1/3 of 1%. So there's no doubt they're going to exceed that. So I think you'll find that this company's best, as we discussed yesterday in the insurance committee, this company is sufficiently prepared to not only claw back, but also moving forward. And if you review the packet, you'll see that it also provides the source payer information, right? So once we get this granular information on our health plan and what we're paying to different providers, then you set a base rate, right? We know what an x-ray should cost. We know what radiology should cost. We know what the cost should be. So as we see these costs come in, for different things, maybe out of county, out of state, those type of things, then we know if we're overpaying before we actually pay the bill. So that's certainly a benefit to this company. Thank you, Chairman.
I still have the floor, I believe. I appreciate everything you said. It doesn't disqualify my thought, especially if we looked at other people, then why didn't we put those other people down and say, this is why? Again, it goes back to the whole thing. Why are we not choosing the other person? I'd like to have that information. I'd like to see it documented so that the public can read it just like I can. And if we looked at other people, company ABC, we didn't like them because they don't have that relationship with Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever the reason is. That's not here, so I can't get behind it for that reason alone. I'm all for the product, for what we want to do. I don't know if this is the right company or not, because I have nothing to compare it to.
Mr. Chairman, call the question.
Okay, got a proper motion, a proper
I have my light
second.
up. I have my light up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Mr. Ross, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
So I think it's a conflict of interest for me to attend the insurance committee meetings. It doesn't make sense that we send all 5 commissioners, but when I do attend a meeting, what I would like in advance, and I've said this before, is all the data so I can review it and not have it handed to me at a meeting. Even if I was at the meeting yesterday, I wouldn't have had enough information. But at the last insurance committee we went to, I asked some very specific questions, and there was no answers because nobody else had asked the questions. But then when I got the answers, it's like nobody cared anyways. And one of the questions was whether or not one of the other respondents to the bid, and I can't remember exactly who it was, whether or not they did the same thing that Blue Cross did with relation to handling, what is the service that Blue Cross provides for us besides the co-insurance? What's the technical term?
TPA?
The what?
TPA?
Yeah, there you go, third-party administrator. And my question was, did the other people do TPA? And the answer came back later, yes, they did. And had that been calculated in, it would have made a difference, and we would have actually spent less money. But what I got out of the meeting was nobody cared, nobody wanted to listen to me, so there's no reason for me to go there. I'd rather get the information at the dais, let us deliberate it, but I don't know that it does any good for the commission to be part of the insurance committee itself when we're the final arbiter. It's counterintuitive. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, we got a proper motion, a proper second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-2. All right, Administrator Suggs, any more comments?
Yes, sir. Just one more comment. It's actually, I hope, following that discussion, a feel-good moment, is we got notification recently from the Army Corps of Engineers. You know, we've been going to D.C. for quite a while now, about 4 years, and really been pushing hard the last couple of years with our federal lobbyist, Josh Gabaton of the Gabaton Group, working on a water infrastructure modernization supply project for East Putnam. And we've been pushing for funding in this for quite some time now. We've always had congressional support in D.C. for it, but these grants and these funding opportunities are very limited, and they're very competitive in nature. But we got notification that the Putnam County has received, or should be receiving funding up to $5 million for phase 1 of this new infrastructure modernization project for East Putnam. So just wanted to bring this to the board's attention. We'll be releasing a press release later today on this very issue. I think it's a great opportunity to go through the process for which we've been working on trying to get this done. And I will tell you that as of now, the Army Corps' approach is it's a $5 million phase 1 project. Putnam County will do the phase. Putnam County will put all the infrastructure in. We will issue a completion of notice. They'll do their inspections, and we'll issue them our invoice for up to $5 million. And the Army Corps will give us back 75% of that within 60 days of completion and approval. So it is a cost up front, but it is a $75 return on our investment to continue moving forward in the water infrastructure modernization project to hopefully get those folks off the wells that are near the river and things of that nature.
Okay. Commissioner Rawls?
Where does the $1.25 million come from overall?
It's going to come from the Board of County Commissioners. That's a 25% match.
No, what source of funds are we using?
I'm sorry?
What source of funds?
we will bring that to the Board of County Commissioners. When we get ready to do our first phase of a project, we will bring it back to the county commissioners for approval up to our $5 million, or however much you want to approve. We'll submit that project, and at that point, we'll come up with a cost mechanism from which fund we're going to pull that from, and then we will do the project, and we'll ask the Corps of Engineers for a reimbursement once the project is complete.
The $3.5 million in ARPA that we approved, where is that in relation to this?
It is separate from this, because this is
$8.5 million
this is a project that was approved through the new infrastructure.
What specifically is the project? What are we looking at?
The project is putting in potable water lines in East Putnam, is what we're looking at. We've been pushing this now for about 4 years. Yes,
We just set aside $3.5 million for that. So this is in addition to, we'll do $8.5 million of improvement.
this is a conversation that we'll certainly have to have, but the project that you folks funded for $3.5 million out of ARPA is a project, a separate project from this that we've been working on, completely different. And
We're
so,
doing $8.5 million total in water, potable water in East Palatka.
Free public water except for one.
I'm just saying that we're doing, I'm just trying to, I want to make, we're not talking overlap where we're.
at this point, I'm not talking anything other than the fact that for 4 years, we've been pushing for a project, and we've got notification within the last few days that phase one of this project is going to be funded up to $5 million. Where we go from here will be a determination on what that project looks like, but I've got projects we've been pushing for 4 years that is completely separate from your ARPA project.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Harvey?
You know, I say this often, I love to go grocery store and it's buy one, get one free. And I love the fact that we pay 25 cents on the dollar for a project. And anytime I can spend 25% on the dollar to move Putnam County forward, this commissioner is all for it. Thank you for your hard work on that, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Adams?
I guess my question's kind of, I'm all for the 25 cent on the dollar thing, but if it's East Palatka, I mean, when we get to the other phases, because we're talking about just water, right, correct? So when we get to the other phases of the plan that was presented to us by our Public Works Director, I don't support those other phases without comparing it to other portions of the county. So it may be better to take that money and put it to Phase A and utilize that ARPA fund somewhere else, because A and B are, and maybe C, I guess because we did A, B, and C, I think are viable projects, but when you get beyond that, the number of people that are helped for the money doesn't make sense to me. And even C is questionable until I get a little more data, but we haven't gotten to the point where I'm worried about that one yet. And I think maybe that allows us, because that's more than enough to cover A, B, and C, from what we were presented prior.
You mean like 1, 2A, 2B?
Yeah, when they, because it was presented with letters, not numbers. And that's where it gets confusing, because this is phase one. I get it, it's phase one, because that's what the grant calls it. I think we should take a step back and look at that, because I think there are other areas of the county that money if we already can cover a good portion of East Palatka, there are other parts of the county that I think we can partner with other governments that are more efficient than C and D of that project for potable water. And if that one is specific to East Palatka only, ARPA is not.
Commissioner Turner?
First, I'd like to say I appreciate the hard work from y'all on trying to get this. I know it's been a 3-year ordeal for you. This didn't just fall out of the sky. I appreciate it very much. 1A in this is not the same as 1A. Phase 1 in this grant is not the same as Phase 1A in the other ARPA money. It's different. Now, we've said multiple times up here that one of our priorities on this commission is try to make that water system and utility system sustainable where the taxpayers don't have to put money in it. We're basically, if we are successful on this grant, which looks real good, it's been offered, so if it looks real good, and the ARPA money that we put forth in it, by the time we get done with that, we should be very close to sustainable, if not sustainable, especially being able to use some of that ARPA money that we set aside for hooking people up without cost. That's going to get people on the system and the more hookups, the better. So basically, we're going to get $8.5 million worth of sustainability for $1.25 million. I'd take that one all day long anytime you can get it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Administrator Suggs, you want to make a comment on that?
I just wanted, for a point of clarification, I do understand that you folks talked about Phase 1 of ARPA funding a couple, 3 weeks ago. Phase 1 of this has absolutely nothing. There is no overlap of those two. Phase 1 from the Army Corps of Engineers Environmental Water Project is if there's additional funding available, we will be included in additional phases. And so that's what this is. They're asking for more money to be put into this congressional fund. Putnam County just got the first bite of the apple in Phase 1. We have the opportunity to get additional bites of the apple depending on how the process and the project goes.
Okay. Commissioner Adams, that?
I'm fine.
Fine. Okay.
Anything else?
Okay. Any other comments? Okay.
Do you
All
need
right.
us to move anything, or was that just information?
Just information?
No, sir, that's just information for the Board of County Commissioners, and we will be drafting a press release and sending it out today. We'll post it on the website as well as give it to the newspaper.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your work and staff's hard work also. Okay, we'll move down to County Attorney, Rich Commando. Okay, we'll move down to Commissioner comments. Before we go to that, I'm going to go ahead and take a couple of items. The first one is Clerk of Court Matt Reynolds has mentioned about discussion of the biweekly pay. And so what I'd like to do, if it's okay with the commission, is to put that on the workshop, first workshop in March, to discuss the possibilities of that and look at the positives and the negatives of that, if that's okay.
I think it's inevitable, Mr. Chairman, that we go there.
I said to say when we should do it.
Well,
Whenever you want to talk, I'm ready.
it's not if I may, it's not a matter of if we need to do it, we definitely need to do it. It's a matter of how we get there
How
and
we
not
get there.
put people in the poorhouse doing it. It's not if we should do it, it's how we get there. And I think Matt's gonna come up with some different options, as well as possibly staff, as far as helping people that make under a certain amount of money per hour, giving them an opportunity. I think the city gave them a little opportunity for a loan if they had to have it in between to get to that second week until they could get adjusted. I'm not sure, but anyhow, I think there was some kind of a little deal that we could come up with, you know. I don't know. If we're gonna, there's just multiple options here. I really don't think it's an issue of if we do or do not want to do it. I think it's an issue of how do we get there without hurting people, without making them short, having to go 2 weeks on one paycheck. You know, that's what we've got to figure out. So
Okay, so we'll put that on the workshop for the first meeting in March, if that's agreeable with the commission.
Okay.
Okay, the second thing is, this goes back to last year with former Chairman Harvey, is to try to set up a joint meeting with the city of Palatka. So we were waiting on some dates, and then I thought we were going to give them some dates, but they have given us some dates, and Sarah has made a copy of those. So, gentlemen, if y'all will look at that and check your calendars, it looks like the first 2/21, 28, 3/7, 3/14 are Mondays, and then 3/17 is a Tuesday. Thursday. So it's Monday and Thursdays. 3/28 is a Monday, and 3/31 is a Thursday. So that one I would not be able to attend because that's when the training for the canvassing board is being held, and that's in Orlando. So we can scratch that one off. But if y'all look at your calendars and see if we can come up with a date at our workshop this afternoon. That's okay, unless you can decide now.
yeah, let's do it this afternoon. Give me a little.
Let's do it this afternoon. I'd like to look at mine.
Schedule as well as this one.
Right. So I just wanted to be aware of that, and I'm looking for one meeting to start off, and you might be thinking of any agenda items that you would like to talk about. They said either 5 or 6 p.m.
You got 3:14 on here, and I'm showing there's a CRA meeting potentially, so that might be a conflict, but we'll see if they have one.
Okay, CRA meeting.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Well, these are the dates that they sent us, so we take a look at those, see if we can pick one up. Okay. Okay. That's part of my comments. We'll start Commissioner comments with Commissioner Rawls.
You said 3:31, we have a conflict, right? That we
Yes.
wanted to- okay. I attended a seminar in Willaca that was put on regarding human trafficking, and at the end of it, I told the people, I said, if you take my blood pressure walking in the door versus watching this 15-minute film that they showed us, it's very frustrating as a father. When you look at, and it's not just females, it goes, it's males and females that this happens to, and the way they show it, it was a film that showed somebody's true story on how innocently it starts out, and next thing you know, they're being sex trafficked. So I think it's something that, we've been talking, I've been pushing hard for the commission to get involved and start funding substance abuse and mental health, and this falls right in line with that, where if you have somebody that is addicted to a substance, and they're easily gotten into that, into sex trafficking. Apparently, it's very pervasive in Northeast Florida. Not necessarily much in Putnam County, but she said there was like 11 known cases last year. So, these are our children. These are our friends' children that are being targeted. And I think that we need to try to do everything we can to support any efforts towards the, I don't know, eradication or whatever, choose your words. But I know I was very angry. I said maybe we just need to find an island and send all the people that are arrested for that to that island and let them deal with each other. But then we have a second Australia. But otherwise, I really have nothing else.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do want to say next week's Valentine's Day. It's also my anniversary. Linda and I have been married 38 years on Valentine's Day. She has put up with me. Thus goes the tie. If anybody's noticed, the little hearts on the tie for Valentine's Day. Do want to say thank you to everyone who attended last week, Tallahassee. A lot of hard work was done up there. A few of us got there a day early, went around and begged and borrowed and stealed. And I want to give kudos to Julianne, who ran back to her hotel room, grabbed her laptop, and jumped on it to try to get some more funding. We're trying to get some more funding for the Barden Bridge and the County Road 310 Bridge. And we made our rounds through Tallahassee of other projects that we had in the hopper. We did seem to find some traction with our good friend who took us up to FDOT, and we might have found a pot of money. But here's the point I'm going to make. You have to be there. You have to be at the table to make change. And I would encourage everybody to do that next year and to bring their concerns before the legislators, because truly we were very blessed to take that money and be able to move it from a road to 2 bridges, but we don't have enough to finish that project. And those projects need to be finished. They are major thoroughfares for Barden, for the residents to get out, and for the County Road 310 for our commerce to come in and travel out. Also want to say a big thank you to our chamber, Dana Jones and Julie and Sam, and all the hard work they did putting that together. Dr. Surensey and his group was there right beside us for Rural Days. We had coffee pot in our tent, which was a very popular item for that cold morning. And I was throwing fish at people, not live fish, squishy fish, stress fish balls, if you will. And but people were didn't know where Putnam County existed at. And a lot of us had the opportunity to engage the legislators, the aides of where Putnam County was and what Putnam County is all about. And it was amazing to me how many legislators go, you're right in the hub of all these wonderful counties, and we are. We truly are the great hub. And before I would be remiss to say, this coming weekend, the Bassmasters will be here. That is a wonderful economic shot in the arm for Putnam County. If you haven't been run off the road lately, I don't mean run off the road, but if you haven't seen their truck and trailers and their boats passing you in the last few days, then you're not getting around, because I can tell you, they're here pre-fishing and they're trying to find the best spots to go. And a lot of them are going out to Lake Ocklawaha, which I encourage y'all to go out and see the beauty out there too. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all the comments I made, and thank you for your leadership on that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Commissioner Adamczak?
Yeah, if you look around Putnam County and you know, I hear from a lot of people, and you see a lot on Facebook that there's nothing to do here. If you think there's nothing to do here, you're not trying to find something to do. Seriously, you're right, you got hog wallers open almost all the time now. You have the fly-in also this weekend that got canceled last weekend. We have a play going on at our theater. We have a jazz band coming, I think, Monday. And then the next week after that, I think there's some other stuff. Road Heaver has their annual Bluegrass Festival coming up, I think, in a couple weeks. There's stuff all the time if you just open your eyes and look for it. I mean, and it's for all ages. It's for all. There's diversity in what's available. I know there was, you know, Black History Month had an event at the brewery the other day. I mean, there's something for everyone here if you're looking for it. If you're not just looking to poo-poo on things and say there's nothing going on. Granted, if you don't like the outdoors, I don't understand why you're living in Putnam County, but that's a whole nother story. I guess a lot of it's because of family things and things like that. But we obviously aren't a big city, so we're not going to have the things that Jacksonville or Orlando have. One thing that struck me this morning when I came in, and then the fact that we recognized these officers this morning, Life Savings Award, is that it's recently been basically opiates, which specifically fentanyl, which is the one that they saved this particular person from, is the #1 killer of people in the United States right now. And that is insane. That was not the case when I was younger. The problem with drugs and kids experimenting now, or even adults experimenting, is the first time can kill you. When I was a kid, you'd have people that would try stuff and they had a bad situation and they just never tried it again. Now the bad situation a lot of times is death or being saved, like the officers did for this particular individual here in Putnam. You know, we talk about Corona and everything else being an epidemic. If we don't start looking at this as an epidemic and treating it the same from all government perspectives, whether it's county, federal, state, we're doing a disservice to the people. And I think what Commissioner Rawls said earlier about looking at these things as a diagnosed illness, much like cancer otherwise, is the way we have to proceed, just because the prevalence it's becoming the prevalent killer in the United States, and that's scary. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Adams. Commissioner Turner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add to the congratulations earlier to Sam, and I appreciate him taking the next step and going up there. I also appreciate administrative staff allowing him and getting him to move in that direction. I've had a constituent talk to me about what are we doing in Tallahassee and why are we spending time in Washington. I said because we're trying not to stick our head in the sand, because that's where the money comes from, the real money. I don't mean just a little bit here and there or our normal operating expenses. I'm talking about that's where the real deal is. And so, touched them, yeah. So, anyhow, I would like to thank that further and thank him again for that. And I know that it's part of his job description, but he doesn't have to do it as well as he does. And so I appreciate that. And like I said, I believe it's very important we continue those efforts in Tallahassee for those additional monies, that we continue the efforts in Washington when we can go up there periodically for this thing like just panned out today. This has been a 3-year process, I believe, from the first time you guys flew up there and met with the guy at Army Corps of Engineers, and I think it's been a 3-year process. Today it paid off, $5 million, 75% grant, with a good opportunity, a fair opportunity to maybe get another bite of that apple for another $5 million also. So anyhow, hopefully that'll work well on our behalf, and I think that's all I have today, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Adams, do you have another comment? Okay. Well, Commissioner Turner and Commissioner Harvey really must have read my notes here as far as my closing comments, but Rural Days was very interesting again. We had postponed it last year, but enjoyed that, and we had 22 of the 32 small counties represented there. When we did this the first year, we had, 5 different counties. So school board represented them. Thank you for them and the Chamber of Commerce. And Commissioner Harvey's work up there, also J.R. Grimes and Sam, Julianne, and Administrator Suggs for the meetings they have. I was able to sit in on the Ports Council meeting, which was the first time I had done that. but it was truly interesting. And you have to go to Tallahassee to meet with the people who, you know, control the purse strings. So that was a very positive 3 days up there. And Sam, thank you for going back and representing the Gator Nation also in Putnam County, in Tallahassee. And definitely the Bassmasters Elite Tournament, that is a big deal for Putnam County. We're able to host this again Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. These fishermen are really dedicated because I live on the river, and, you know, Sunday was not very nice weather, and some of them were fishing out in front of my house, pre-fishing. So these guys are really dedicated to their craft. It brings a lot of money into town, and so the send-offs or the launches at 7:30, and the weigh-ins are at 3:30 each afternoon. I will be helping the group, Taylor Douglas and Ed Killebrew, Steve Overturf, Greg Bacon, help park the trucks and the trailers in the morning. Starting Thursday, I think it'll be 5 o'clock in the morning, so it'll be a long day for us, but it's pretty enjoyable. So hopefully people can come down to the riverfront for the weigh-in for that. That's all of my comments. We do have a 2 o'clock workshop this afternoon. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we stand adjourned.